Hi, and welcome to College Planning Untangled, where we simplify the college planning process for our families. I'm Kristin Clark. I'm a career exploration coach for 16 to 26-year-olds, and I've got Bobby Hood, Mr. SAT and ACT. Bobby, how are we doing today?
Just great. Yeah, it's that time of year where everybody's waiting for college decisions, and then those kids that are more like junior year are finally starting to think about where they should go and try to get their scores together and start thinking about recommendation letters and all that. So yeah, let's talk about that college application process.
Yeah. So, really the topic for today is what I call the 30% college gap. And if you guys listen to us often, you've heard this stat before, but 30% of our kids that go to college don't return after their sophomore year.
Yep.
And really it's going to fall squarely on parents to make sure that their kid doesn't fall into that number.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it happens to so many people and maybe they never come back or maybe they, take some time off and go back, but like once that happens, it's a real risk that you're never going to finish, right? And then there's just all this money down the drain, wasted time, probably lots of unhappy feelings, And so, yeah, like what can people do to try to make sure their kid doesn't fall into that 30% that don't return?
Yeah. And really, Bobby, the first thing I think we need to talk about is why it happens.
Yeah.
Okay. And why this is completely the parents' problem.
Mhm.
And it really starts with in our high schools. I think a lot of parents feel like, well, the high school should get them ready to be college and career ready. And the
Mhm.
reality is, our high school counselors have about 22% of their time to focus on college and career. The rest of
Mhm.
it is spent on admin, which is about 20%, and then all other things,
Mhm.
deaths and families, grade issues,
Yeah,
childhood
discipline
progression,
issues and all
all
that.
this
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. So, and during that 22% of the time, they're spending it on helping them with college essays,
Mhm.
with applications, and making sure they're getting all that stuff done on time. They're worried about what am I missing? Oh, SAT and ACTs, and
Mhm.
which of those tests should they take?
Mhm.
And then they're trying to fit in what kind of college major should you have and career ideas.
Right, and so there's really almost no time spent on actually seeing if the kid is ready for college and helping them understand how to be ready for college,
Yeah,
right?
they just can't. And
Right.
Bobby, what it equates to, just to put some perspective on this, is about 38 minutes per student for the year.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, and to talk about all those 4 or 5 categories that we just listed. So it's just not enough time,
Mhm.
right? And I can tell you this from talking to a lot of the high school counselors, they so desperately wanna help these kids. So
Sure. Yeah.
it's not that they don't have the desire, it's just they can't,
Yeah.
all right? So now
Absolutely.
let's fast forward to the colleges.
Mhm.
The colleges have lots of programs to help our students acclimate to college, to figure out careers, to figure out majors, but you kind of run into that same time crunch issue where you sign up for a 15, 20-minute slot on your counselor's calendar.
Mhm.
And if that student's not walking in with the right questions,
Right.
they're not getting the right answers. Okay. So where this ends up is the parents needing to really focus their time and energy on helping these kiddos get acclimated and figure out, is college the right place for them, and what should they be thinking about?
Yeah, sure. I mean, colleges have certainly, like you said, they have resources that will help students, but they aren't going to be chasing the kid down and talking to him, right? You have
No.
to you have to like affirmatively go and use those resources, and the kids who are likely to be not returning probably aren't going to be thinking to use those resources, right? They're probably depressed or unhappy or not feeling like they fit in and aren't aware of these resources or it doesn't occur to them to use them, right? They're just feeling unsatisfied.
So many reasons, right? And I'm going to go back to, I do a lot of work with college counselors that they have a huge desire to help these kids. Again, there's not a lack of desire here, it's just
Mhm.
time. So, for the parents, what I suggest, and how do you're like, okay, great, we've got this issue, how do we get around it? And Bobby, it gets right down to having conversations with these kids about what they are trying to achieve. You know,
Mhm.
what kind of career are they thinking about? Because what I see happen is we talk all about getting in, getting in, getting in, getting in, and
Mhm.
there's just not enough conversation around why are you going?
Mhm.
What's the end result? What's your goal? And, you know, what kind of career is going to make you happy so that we can pick the right major and get you in the right spot, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing is that like as you know, right, the thing you do working with students is help them figure out what their, what their career would be. And so, I mean, the reasons why people leave college after the first year, right? There are many of them, but not feeling like you have any purpose or direction is one of them, right? And so if you
Let's
know your career choice and your major, you'd be more interested, right?
absolutely. No, you hit the nail on the head. You know, it's interesting, Bobby, when I look up the stats on why do kids leave college, you know what I hear? I hear things like financial reasons. I get it. Bad stuff can happen to a family while kids are in college, but those percentages are probably pretty low. So I know families walk into college knowing it's going to be expensive, right? And
Yeah,
I think back
absolutely.
to when I was in my running marketing departments in the home security space, people would call us and they go, I'm moving. Well, why'd they say that? Well, because then you weren't going to try to sell them, right? It was the easy answer. And I kind of look at financial as one of those, well, it's easier for somebody to say it's a financial reason versus my kid failed or my kid didn't make it or my kid couldn't
Oh,
figure it
that makes sense, right?
out, right? The second thing they talk about is academics. Yeah, a kid can go and maybe not make it, right? They just can't figure it out. But I look at too at a lot of these kids and they're doing pretty darn well. You know, they're doing pretty
Yeah.
good in school. I can see they might go there. Absolutely, there's probably some of that in there too. I think
Yeah.
that's another easy answer versus the ones
Yeah,
that we
what the
don't want
really
to
is
talk about.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you get into the personal issues, which, you know, we know there's a lot of mental health issues going on today with these kids. So that category, I'm not even going to tackle because I think there's a lot of stuff that is happening personally, or death in families, or just all the things that can happen to people, right? In my book. But the other two, I kind of raise that eyebrow and go,
Right.
really? Really? What I typically see happening, and when I'm talking to parents and I'm talking to these teens after they've left college, is they're like, you can say they were just lost. They didn't
Mhm.
know what to do. And a big part of it is I think that there wasn't that anchor, that grounding to say, I know why I'm here. I've got a
Mhm.
solid plan and I know what I'm gunning for so that when college does get tough that first year, which we all know it is,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
We've talked about this. You're in a place you don't know, you're sleeping in a room with somebody you may not know, you're
Right.
eating food that you're not used to eat, and you're having to come up with what to do with every stinking inch of time that you have, right?
Mhm.
It's difficult, it's uncomfortable. And what I see is the teens that just they're not quite sure why they're there,
Mhm.
add that uncomfortableness on top of it, and
Yeah.
they're I'm done. I'm
Yeah.
out of here. I don't know why I'm here. Right?
Exactly. Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the point of this is. Right. And right. But if you know already the things you're interested and good at, then you're gonna be able to, first year of college is mostly just taking kind of basics, but you're gonna take a couple of courses that are starting you off in whatever major you're aiming for. And if you know why you're in that major and what kind of career it's going to lead to, you're just naturally going to have more interest and you're going to be finding out. And even if you did find out, oh, okay, now I don't really like this subject, you can, like you've talked to students about, maybe you got yourself, into one big area, right? But now you can narrow in and say, okay, wait, I need to shift, but I'm only shifting left, 25% instead of having to like say, I have no idea what I'm going to do with my life now, right?
Right.
But you can learn and say, okay, now I know more about my skills. Now I know more about what my direction is, right? And I took some things that are still going to be helpful for, you know, getting me on the right pathway. I mean,
There's
that's what it's all
there's stickiness there,
about. Mhm.
you know, where you go, okay, that's okay. It's okay. I know why I'm here. And
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest challenge that I see is kids are
Mhm.
checking the box going, that was the next thing I was supposed to do. That everybody told me that was the next thing I was supposed to do.
Mhm.
And I'm here and it kind of sucks, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
And then they go, you know what, tap, I'm out. So I really look at this and go, for parents, even if you've got littles, Even if you've got kids in elementary school, middle school, start having these conversations about, what would make life fun for you? What kind of job would you enjoy? What are the things that you're really good at? And what does that look like for a job? And just opening it up so that this is a natural conversation and not okay, now I'm a junior or senior in high school and you are incessantly asking me the same stupid question,
Right.
Make it part of your life. Or let's say you are in that position where now they're a junior or senior, right? Having the conversations now, but being much more thoughtful about them because they are tired of talking about college. We know that,
Right.
But being thoughtful and just saying, you know what, if you understand why you're going, kiddo, then this is going to be a much easier road for you. So I think opening the doors to the conversation.
Absolutely. I mean, and this is one of the things that's really interesting because if you simply just talk about these things, like parents don't necessarily know how to talk about these things to students the right way, right? So they might just ask the question like, what are you gonna do? Tell me what you've just, like just expecting students to already know it. And it's one of those things is that, how to actually, ask the right questions and how to show students what their strengths are by, going through the Clifton strengths and that sort of thing. But it's not just that. There's also this third party thing, right?
For sure.
Where I can get students to tell me things and they'll tell them to me, but they won't tell their parents, right? Or in the reverse, their parents can give them some advice about test prep and they will say, oh, that sounds stupid, mom. But when I tell them, they're like, oh, Mr. Hood said I should do this, right?
He's so awesome.
Right,
Yeah.
so part of this is it may be, try having those conversations and try listening more than talking, right? But consider having the kid, sign up with you or join one of your classes to learn about their strengths because that will get them interested and then that'll get them talking, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. It's a great topic.
Yeah. And I put into the chat the timeline, the college planning timeline, because here's another thing, Bobby, in that we give them prompts. We give families prompts.
Right.
Now
at this time, talk about this question. Yep.
Yeah. So just FYI, guys, it's in there for you. And if you've got any questions, you know how to reach both Bobby and I, and we'd love to help you out.
Always happy to. All right. See you next week.